It was something in the air. It was something in the air.
Our first major quarantine project is going to be redoing our kitchen countertops and backsplash. We are renters, so we don't really have a ton of options here, but we're kind of sick of the brown granite and busy backsplash, so I ordered some contact paper off of Amazon, and we are going to do our best to upgrade our kitchen with this beautiful faux marble look.
Wish us luck.
Yeah.
Countertop ceramics, going to paper products.
Brennan's dad owns his own tile company in Minnesota, so he might find this really funny that we're going the paper route, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do when you don't own your place. We've never done this before, so we are just doing a sample right here. So we will let you know how it goes. So far, the corners are clearly the hardest. We have rounded corners, so it's really tough to make it look like it's not paper. So we might do something afterwards and go over that again. But so far, the surface is looking good. It took us a few tries to get this laying flat with no bubbles. The squeegees did help a little bit. I would just say do the smallest sections that you can, especially starting out when you're getting used to using the contact paper. But so far, I already like the way it looks. All right, we took a little break and had some dinner and snacks after completing this. It took us like 30 minutes just to get this section, so it's definitely going to be a long, slow and steady project. Brennan's currently measuring out the sections. We didn't realize going into it, or I didn't realize how funky our countertops are. Like there's very few areas that are actually straight and like a clear cut. So this is gonna take a little longer than I thought. So he's just doing all the measurements and making it, what was that face for?
Just a little longer.
Just a little bit longer. This project that I signed Brennan up for. It's gonna take him longer than I thought. Yeah, he thought we were just doing the backsplash. Because I ordered those subway tiles, but they don't come in until later this week. But surprise, we're doing the entire kitchen. It's fine. Do you have any tips at this point in the journey?
Just watch Tim the Toolman Taylor before you start.
Perfect. I must have missed that.
Yeah, you did. Educational value is huge.
Oh, good.
Vastly important.
I'm super glad you studied
Yeah.
prior to doing this.
Yep, don't use a ruler either. Just measure it out like this.
Yeah, what exactly is happening right now? This is giving me major anxiety. All right, well, I think I should probably put the camera down and help.
Probably a good idea.
Our strategy here was to do this little sliver first, and this was just 2 different panels, and then we're gonna lay the big piece on top so that the edges don't get messed with. Like over time, we thought it would be better to go over the top this way versus having this go up here, since this is kind of a high traffic area, and he cut the paper specific to the shape of the sink, so we just need to pick up some clear caulking to put around this to seal it so that the water doesn't mess with the edges, and it should be good. For reference, this is the biggest size I could find on Amazon width-wise, and what we're doing is filling in this tiny sliver in the back so that this can go over the edge. Because we figured this area is way less noticeable, and we have like our fruit bowl here usually and things covering this, so it'd be better to make up for the difference back here. But it almost covers the entire surface, just not quite. All right, we've got our borders ready to go. Now it's time to lay the funkiest shaped contact paper ever. right, it is in and it is looking marvelous. There is definitely
Marvelous?
Oh my gosh. That was good. There are some imperfections, but we did it like as perfectly as we possibly could. And I feel like it looks really good. Honestly, like there are some bubbles, which I hope kind of go away over time. But I feel like if you didn't know it was contact paper, you really wouldn't know. Also, this ended up working out to our advantage. Like I said, this is all one big piece and we X-Acto knifed it while it was happening. And we kind of went over kind of by accident, but it ended up looking better in the area that covers it than like right here. You can see that it didn't cover it enough. So best to go over and then chip away as you need to. Section 2 commences this morning. We think that this is going to be a little bit easier just because it's just two straight situations, but then I've also got this corner. So TBD on how it actually goes. But I woke up really happy with the way this looked in the morning. Honestly, just feels like it's a real countertop. So I'm excited. So the only difference between this section and this section is that since this is an area where we are constantly having things along the edge, like over here, we are going to bring this all the way over versus here we had to kind of supplement the length by doing two different sections. So up here you can tell, but since this area has so many, like all of this stuff is always covering it, we're not worried about the difference that we're going to see over there. So we're making sure this is going to go all the way over the edge so that you won't have this look over here. We made it a little harder on ourselves than we needed to, but this is the strategy we went with. So now we are just going to cut all the excess off so it is as close to the lines as possible. This is the finished section. This took a little bit longer than I expected, but it looks amazing. I'm really happy that the green pretty much matches up there. It's looking good. Into the final big corner over here. How are you feeling?
Ready to kick some ass.
Oh yeah. Oh, just like your shirt. I don't think that was planned. We found that you need to be super attention to detail when it comes to cleaning the counter, because even over here, after we cleaned it, we didn't realize we missed some spots until after the paper was down, so we had to take it off and re-clean it in some spots and then re-put it down. So just make sure you clean extra carefully, getting like really close to areas that aren't touched, etc, etc. And
yeah, just have ample light.
oh yeah, that's true too.
We didn't have that.
I didn't have great lighting. Yeah, so just like being able to see all the surface and make sure it's super clean and even, because whatever is on here is going to show even worse on the paper if you don't get it off.
It's just gonna be tricky, but doable. Otherwise, we're gonna be bad. She's dancing, I'm working.
Saying without you, we've got so many stupid things to do. You're the only thing I'm holding on to. Anywhere and anything, I'll be there. You're the only thing I'm holding on to. Anywhere and anything, stick together.
Just like that, we have kitchen countertops. They look really good. This was the hardest section for some reason. We struggled with it, but it looks good.
Oh, yeah, you just gotta move this fridge. It's tough to do in tight quarters. You gotta have space.
Yeah, it definitely takes two people. And I feel like the trick that makes it so there's less bubbles is holding the paper high up on an incline as you go with a credit card or something to flatten the surface. And you just have to go really slow and be really patient.
Like I was falling through the air. No one but myself to hold my hand. Standing in the shadows of where we have been. Sleeping with your back facing me. I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make. And I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me. 'Cause tonight we have it all. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 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 We've been into places all at once. Wish that what we said would come undone. Feels like our minds have been turned off. Haven't seen each other for so long. I know this isn't us. Baby, pull me closer, let's fall in love. Oh, I can feel my body move to every move you make. And I can feel the tension every time we're close. I know whatever happens, I will have you next to me. 'Cause tonight we have it all. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one. 'Cause we're dancing as one.
For this piece, this part of our countertop is actually not as far out as like this part of our countertop. So we ended up with a little too much underneath. So I'm just gonna go through an X-Acto knife this entire strip off. For corners like this, I kind of just treated it like I was wrapping a present. So you cut the top, you cut the bottom, and then you're able to seal it tightly. And then you just X-Acto whatever you need to off. So like I'll cut this part right here. And just like that, we have a marble kitchen. It looks so much better. Okay, it looks so much better, so much brighter, and we still have the backsplash to do, so we're not done yet, but this little project took us 3 days, and I would say each day we did a few hours. First 2 days, the second day was the longest.
Second day was the longest figuring it out. We just did the counter that was left over in about an hour and a half, so each section is probably like no more than 2 hours. 6 hours total for a project, 6 to 8 for the whole kitchen.
I love it.
Bang it out in one day.
Yeah, it's totally doable in one day. You definitely need 2 people.
Stay patient with each other.
Yes, you definitely have to be patient for sure.
And it'll turn out nice.
Yeah.
Now
Yay.
we'll experiment, check back, see how it holds up.
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
We are back, about to do our backsplash. It is
We are back.
We're back. It is Sunday and we started this project on Tuesday. So we started it out pretty far, but at the same time I feel like that was our saving grace for not getting overwhelmed. It was a really hard height difference to get into
Broken
the
into pieces.
frame.
There you go.
There you go. We'll be sideways. This is the backsplash. It is a 12 by 12 square subway tile, white grout. Stunning.
Amazing. I'm gonna take a little bit of what I learned from Curtile Ceramic Company, put it
This is Dad.
to paper. See how it goes.
Yeah, we'll document to see if it's as easy as it seems. Because in my head, I feel like this is gonna be easier.
It should be. Not a lot of rolls, piece by piece.
And it's not like it's textured.
Easier to cut.
So
It's a little puzzle.
yeah. So
See how it sits against the backsplash that's currently up. I'll let you know.
hey.
Hey.
'Cause we're dancing as one. You and me are moving. Make sure we get through this.
Should lay out the sheets first. They're going on the wall. Step 2, go measure the wall. Step 3, come over, cut the measurements. Step 4, post them up.
Seems easy enough.
Keep on dancing as one. You and me are moving.
So what are you measuring right now?
I just went over and measured the wall. It's 55 and a half, so I want to measure out 55 and a half, and then we're going to cut the tile right there at 55 and a half.
Are you starting the measurement from this guy or the smaller one?
Starting the measurement from full tile. We'll fill in half tile in the corners.
How come?
It just gives it a better look.
Oh,
Easier measurements.
got it.
All right, we're going to start on the wall that when you walk in, most people see right away. So we laid it out. What it is 40 and an eighth. Measured 40 and an eighth here. See where it makes sense, because you don't want to leave just a little slice of tile. You want a full tile over here with a full tile over here. So make sure you do that before the measurement. That's why you lay it out first.
Map it
so
out.
we're going to cut this off right here. We're going to go piece by piece. It's different than tile because this paper can shift around and you're not filling it in. With tile, you can do little grouts, and the grout can be a little bit different. The space can be a little different, but these are not. These are
Preset for you.
preset in paper form. So we'll start right here with a piece on this side, always leaving a little extra because you can X-Acto it off. And then we'll go this way, cut off the sheet there, and then we'll start with that cut off sheet coming this way towards the other.
And it'll look like continuity wise, it'll look like we folded a tile in the corner, kind
Yeah,
of.
it just looks like you want to start a full tile right here. You never want to really fill in. So it just looks like we'll fold a tile and then go that way. So it's all in one.
All right, cool. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
We're not cutting directly on the line because we want to be able to X-Acto it off to make sure it's perfect. All right, some general notes after putting in the first section. It was a little too thick to X-Acto knife, in my opinion. Maybe if Brennan had an X-Acto knife, it would have been easier for him. But I would recommend just maybe cutting it, but being super careful to make sure to cut it very correctly. Putting in the second square was way easier. Brennan was able to line it up perfectly. So after you get your first piece down, I would say it's for the most part a little bit easier. And then for this section for us, unfortunately, this is not the right size for like an even cut. So what we're gonna have to do is kind of fold over this, which isn't super ideal, but we don't really have any other options at the moment. So I am going to cut this piece while he continues to work on this area, which is not going to be fun either because of those outlets. But so far so good. This paper is way stickier than the marble. Do you have any notes?
No, just on outlets, you want to cut out the pieces before you put it up. So I'm just going to measure how far the tile is. Measure the grout, which is probably a quarter of an inch weak. Add that to where my measurement is, and then it's just put it in a puzzle piece after you cut it. So cut it first and then put it up on the wall.
Okay. Easy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Make sure we get through this. Let's just keep on dancing as one. And we're dancing as one. And we're dancing as one. And we're dancing as one.
Super important part is the caulking that we're doing around the sink so that the water doesn't ruin the paper over time. And this is something that is removable. Also, you can rip it up so you don't have to worry if you're renting. Super easy. Picked it up from Home Depot. Next very important step is to go over it with your finger just to obviously make sure it's flush with the counter and the sink because you don't want a giant line of caulking around your sink. This is an interesting time in which to finish our backsplash, but we're going for it at 9:15 on a Saturday night after happy hour and after dinner and after a few glasses of wine.
What else is there to do?
This is how the packs come. I don't know if I've shown this already, but we had to order 2 more packs of 10 and another pack of 5. So, what's this music? So for our kitchen, we needed 45. So, mostly I just stand here for moral support, and he does most of the things.
Tools.
In my pink
Toolbox.
toolbox.
Much needed.
So yeah.
You were my best friend. Didn't care about the rules, good on the weekends. I'll be in fools, drifting to deep space. So brave and so stupid, just like the movies. I was gonna stay in the fight with